We are officially back in All In territory, and you know what that means from me. Not only am I going to shamelessly recycle some of the topics I did for All In last year, because that's fun, and I like talking about British wrestling, but also we get to put some swerves on it, because AEW right now is a very different AEW to where it was at the last All In, so we can speculate, we can talk, and let's talk about some big main events. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about 5 matches that could main event All In Wembley 2024, and it's going to get exciting and spicy. But before we dive into that, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below on what you think will main event All In Wembley as we dive into it. So yeah, we're going to talk about 5 big matches, 5 matches that I think have the potential to main event Wembley Stadium next year. And I've tried to do some off-kilter ones. I'm not just going to say, Omega Ospreay, because of course it could. I've gone for some that I think have story ramifications and could potentially play out in the next year or so. So shall we just dive straight into this with number 5. So coming in at number 5, we have Maxwell Jacob Friedman defending the AEW World Championship against Swerve Strickland. This is a difficult one because Swerve is hot right now. I don't think you could really keep that momentum for as long as possible to have him win the title at Wembley. That is very, very difficult because we've seen wrestling fans, we know we are fickle, we know we do give up on people, and we also know Tony Khan gives up on people who are hot as well. But Swerve versus MJF, and Swerve having that crowning moment at Wembley Stadium, defeating MJF, or vice versa, maybe Swerve wins the belt earlier and instead you have Max going back on the chase for that title. I think that could work really well, and I think Swerve has proven he is a main event caliber star. His match with Hangman is one of the best of the year. His matches in the Continental Classic have also been terrific. I think this is a really cool big time match that could put a lot of butts in seats, because Swerve's great at telling stories. The Hangman story was fantastic, and Max is also perfect at telling stories. I think they could work some real magic, and I think we'll get that feud before Max drops the title. Wembley seems like a fitting place to do that. Coming in at number 4, you're going to hear a lot about this man, but it is Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Adam Cole. Now, I know we got Adam Cole in the main event of this year's All In, but a lot will happen in the next year, depending on what happens with the Devil storyline, depending on what happens with his injury, depending on what happens with Britt Baker, with Samoa Joe, with Wardlow, with MJF's contract. We could be looking at a year-long story that is lasting from Wembley to Wembley, and you have a huge blow-off match between Adam Cole and MJF. The implosion of their friendship culminates at Wembley Stadium. I think that's quite poetic. Would it feel like we've been cheated? I don't think so. I think having a big-time match with a big-time story is fine, and doing it in multiple events and having it be a year-long story. I wasn't opposed to what we're getting now with seemingly Roman versus Cody twice, or with Rock Cena. I think it can work, and I think this story has legs. It still has some juice left in the tank, and I believe it could be a really cool main event, whether it be MJF has turned heel in the build, whether it be, they're still both friends, but this just implodes them again, and you get a repeat spot of what we saw at the end of All In this year. There's a lot they can do with MJF and Cole. There's so much left in that feud, in that friendship, and I think it'd be great to see it pay off at Wembley Stadium. Coming in at number 3, we have a dream match that I want to see. I do want to see this. I think it does have main event potential, and that is Kenny Omega versus Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland came in as a big deal, a huge signing for AEW, and him matching wits with Kenny Omega on the grandest stage in British wrestling at Wembley Stadium. that could be awesome. That could be really, really cool. I don't think this could necessarily be a championship match just with the stories that they're telling. I don't know how you get the belt onto either Copeland or Kenny, but it's just like billed as a dream match, kind of like the Zack Sabre Jr. Danielson match was. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. There's a lot of fuel between Kenny and Copeland that you can play off. You can play off their history. You can play on the fact that their bodies are breaking down and tell a really interesting story in the main event of Wembley Stadium, and then have them unite just this once. This is just that one match. Have them embrace, shake hands. I think that would be an awesome spectacle to have at Wembley Stadium, and I do feel like that is, main event caliber. I think Copeland versus Kenny is one of the few dream matches that AEW has left up its sleeve, and I'd love to see that play out at Wembley Stadium next year. Coming in at number 2, we have something that I'm sure will happen next year. Whether it happens at Wembley is another question, but that is the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay, because of course that match is going to happen as soon as Ospreay is viable and completely signed up, done with New Japan, and that match will happen with Bryan Danielson. I'm fully fledged, 100% sure that will happen. It's probably on Bryan Danielson's bucket list before he goes into a part-time role. Having that play out at Wembley, having Danielson be the heel, Ospreay be the face, which I think was one of the main issues with his match at Wembley this year, is that they played Jericho up as the face, which was weird. But I think there's so much there. There's so much with Danielson, so much with Ospreay that you can mine and have an incredible dream match that would just really, really slap. That's the best I can say it. Danielson versus Ospreay could be the greatest wrestling match of all time, and I think you say that every time Danielson steps in the ring with someone, but it genuinely could be. It could genuinely be sensational stuff. Having the title play a part could also be interesting. Maybe Danielson gets it off Swerve, maybe Danielson gets it off Cole, and then Ospreay, all of that, collides. I think that could be a fantastic match, and I bet it's probably already penciled in for next year. So we will see about that. And coming in at number 1, this might get me some hate, but I genuinely think that this match is main event caliber. It has been built to. It is ready, and I want to see the respect be shown for the women's division. Like, women's title match, Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker. That right there has main event potential. It genuinely does. In the same way that Cole and MJF had main event potential, and it did main event Wembley Stadium. You just tell a good story between Hayter and Britt, and you have your main event match. You could really, really do some incredible stuff between these two. They've been paired for so long. I'm trying to rack my brain. I'm 99% sure they never had a match. Like 99% sure they never had a match, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. There's so much you can do storyline-wise that has happened, relating to the injury, relating to Britt not being on TV, relating to everything going on with Tony Storm, the Outcasts. You could play all of that into a huge epic saga, culminating in the main event of Wembley Stadium. I think it would be fantastic to see Jamie Hayter get that hometown reaction that she was robbed of this year. And I think it's a fantastic choice. I genuinely think Hayter versus Baker has main event potential. If you want to throw a little asterisk in there, maybe throw a Mercedes Moné in as well. But for me personally, Hayter versus Baker, I'd just love to see it. I'd love to see that match main event. I think it'd be so good for both Hayter and Baker, and really great for AEW, because I know they need to step up with their women's division stuff. It is just abysmal at the moment. Utterly abysmal. And this, it just needs to step on. Main event in Wembley Stadium, that would be incredible for the women's division. And that's all I have to say about that. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you not? Let me know everything you want down below. What do you think will main event All In 2024? And I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.
you.